Hello and welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to talk about a particular aspect of life that is that is a secret, so to speak, because nobody really talks about it. And I found a few communities online, but really offline, nobody really talks about what I'm going to talk about in this particular video. And this message or this wisdom is better coming from a strange person online than it is coming from your father or from your brother or whoever. And if and this particular video is aimed at the young men, young boys of this day and age, of this particular era that we are living in, because there is a certain problem in this era, a certain hugely widespread problem in this era, and this problem is that even though we see that a lot of progress has been made outwardly, we have been able to communicate with people of other countries, we know a lot of things now, and we have access to information and knowledge. So, any person in this day and age has truth in his hands at your fingertips. And if you really seek knowledge, if you really seek the truth, there is nothing stopping you from getting to it. Getting any kind of knowledge, any kind of wisdom is very easy. And once you have a couple of resources, once you have done research, you also can physically go there, you can travel and be there. If, for example, and this is only one example that I'm giving, you can learn anything you want in this day and age. You can mold yourself to the ideal version of you. So, so the example that I want to give is about yoga and how I have learned yoga by not because it is a part of my culture or part of my tradition. In fact, it would have been really hard if I did not have a phone, if I did not have access to internet. I would have never gotten into yoga or other aspects, other wisdom schools of different cultures, different traditions. And if you really go into all of those, you can pick up things that are beneficial for you and your achievements, whether it be materialistically, whether it be your spiritual achievements or simple goals that you have put for yourself, ambitions. In this day and age, we see that young men and young boys are capable of satisfying themselves easily, very easily. In fact, media and technology is usually used for satisfying ourselves. A part of a huge, it is a huge industrial complex. Technology is, in fact, one of the biggest industrial complexes in this day and age. Social media and all of these different giant companies rule the economic world, and we find that we find software developers everywhere. We find that work has now shifted towards technology, and it is more technology based, and the whole world has shifted into the phone and into the media. There are obviously a lot of cons and pros also. Some of the pros I've mentioned earlier now, but looking at the cons are huge. We have so many problems when it comes to technology, and this progress of technical progress is moving so rapidly that we're not able to stop for a moment and think about where we are going, what is happening, what are the psychological issues, the debates and the questions that were imposed regarding technological process 10 years ago are still ongoing. There is no real answer to these debates, and even though there are answers, we do not really comply with them. And even if we do, there are other aspects, political aspects. The government suddenly changes after the election, and then you see that there are different policies in place regarding technology according to the economic needs, according to the political needs, according to the needs of the people and the progress of nation and so on. But in this particular video, uh, this is not about yoga. This is not about progress, technological progress. This is about sexual transmutation. One of the huge problems that we have is the access to pornographic media, and this is leading young men and young boys towards satisfying their most crucial desire very easily. This leads to huge psychological consequences and also different other consequences. And of course, there are a few communities online, but they are under sometimes they're very under a less population, and I don't think that there is enough spokespersons who talk about this. They do not talk about this in political rallies, obviously, and your parents don't tell you this, your family doesn't tell you this, your big brother doesn't tell you this, but but it is okay coming from me and coming from a stranger. So let me tell you something about sexual transmutation and why, how it is not a need, that you can actually transmute your sexual energy towards things like philosophy, things like art, things like achieving peace, things like achieving a certain calm in your natural demeanor, things like progressing your social communication skills. And so the race, when it comes to young people, is based on this root desire, which is the basis of a lot of other desires. And this is the secret of a lot of successful people. And you may have heard about this, but it is certainly a sin to lose your sexual energy, and you can actually transmute your sexual energy through acts like meditation, through acts like yoga, through acts like diverting your mind towards artistic or creative endeavors. Through through diverting this energy in your brain development, you will be able to become more intelligent. You will be able to achieve almost superhuman like powers. And the greatest intellectuals who have been alive on this planet and who have done great, tremendous work in the fields of science, in the fields of philosophy, or even politics have followed this rule. There are many famous people who have followed this kind of a lifestyle called brahmachari, or a lifestyle of celibacy. So we see that young people of this day and age are thirsty for this. They think that their satisfaction and their is in this quenching of this desire, and so the parents also think that it is their responsibility to get rid of their responsibility, that is their children, and they assume and think that their children should somehow get married as quickly as they can, and then the burden is off of their heads. And the children too, the young people too, are in this misconception that they think that the sexual communion is the only act that is going to give them this ecstatic joy, when in fact ecstatic joy is in converting this sexual energy into your everyday present moment. You will naturally feel, if you have practiced celibacy, you naturally feel what I'm talking about here. You will feel the power that it produces inside your brain, the power that it produces around you, in your communication skills, in your in your whole demeanor. Suddenly you realize what you used to be when you first attained puberty and when you discovered this power inside you. And you go back to your childhood, you go back to your teenage years, those years where you weren't thinking about sadness, where you weren't depressed, where you were simply happy and you were simply peaceful. You were careless, you were worryless, and this was your inherent nature, this was your attitude. Simply look at those teenagers, look at those children who are so joyful, they are so energetic, they are running everywhere, they have so much energy inside of them. What happened is that once they grew, they discovered this ecstatic joy for a few moments and they kept losing their energy. They kept losing the root of your existence, which sources your life energy itself. They kept losing it for the opposite sex. Now, this does not really mean that you should not indulge with communication with opposite sex. After a period of brahmachari, after a period of celibacy, and after a period of holding your energy, you will be able to transmute it and look at the sisters and the mothers of this world. You will be able to look at them very differently. You will also, if you are a woman watching this, you will be able to look at men differently without this creepy, disgusting look inside that you give to a man or a woman. You will be able to see them as they are, as a creation, as a brother, or as a sister. You can actually have friendship with them, and that is way more beneficial to you. That is way more spiritual to you than to have a sexual relationship with the opposite sex. And everything about your life will really change once you understand the subtle art of sexual transmutation. And of course, it requires a certain self control, a certain discipline, but it is not truly unachievable. There is a lot of say out there which says that it is somehow a need of some sort. It is not a need. It is not. It is energy that is trying to go out somehow. And if you simply divert it towards other things like making a YouTube video, for example, or painting, or towards your studies, towards your material progress, whatever it is, or if you are spiritual, then that is the most beneficial thing for you. You will certainly feel the benefits of brahmachari in your spiritual progress, in your meditations. You will enjoy food. You will enjoy simple breeze moving through your hair. You will enjoy waking up to a to a sunrise, to a beautiful sunrise. You will enjoy the chirping of the birds. You will enjoy these small moments when you simply give up this act that you are probably been doing again and again and feeling the same things again and again. The guilt, the disgust, the awkwardness with women or men, the depression, we all know that it is the cause. And so, the more you practice this, the more you will be able to go beyond this. And it is certainly possible. It is not a need. It is possible if you have a way to divert this energy when it rises. And you can control your mind, you can control your thoughts. You know when you are in this depth of desire, when that desire is so real, simply know that it is controllable, it is malleable, it will pass away, just like how the sun sets every evening, the moon rises. This urge will pass, and if you simply become celibate, most of your psychological problems will be solved. We see this not only in single men who have not married or who have not had a girlfriend or a relationship. We also see this in marriages. People get married very young, or these days marriages have gone down too. It is at least better to be married than to be in an open relationship with someone, Without getting into that topic, let us first focus on this topic, that is, even the married have a lot of psychological consequences of overindulging in this habit. This leads to a lot of psychological problems in the family, leads to a lot of conflicts among each other, divorces, cheating, you name it, and you create this hell.